Sadly, there is a bunch more, and when I say a bunch, I mean a bunch that say, if you are a heavy drinker, and you are a regular heavy drinker, eventually it is going to start decreasing your testosterone levels. Simon Miller, the bald a-hole here, a man with no hair who does sit with a Gerald the fitness mascot and a Stanley the Gaines giraffe and tries to pass fitness content onto you because I just think it's a nice thing to do. And as always, what I'm about to say, maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, that's all fine. Leave me a comment, leave me a comment, call me a piece of trash, but then hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. For a lot of my content, I like to kind of be steered by a lot of the DMs I get, especially on Instagram. Cheap plug Simon Miller 316 over there. And I often get questions saying, Simon, will this affect my testosterone levels? Will that affect my testosterone levels? And while I had some vague knowledge of this, I thought I'd sit down and I would study it. So I came up with a bunch that, yes, may actually decrease your testosterone levels. But as always, let's get it out the way early. We are talking very, very minor. And if you are a normal, healthy, happy human being, I doubt it's going to affect you that much. Unless you plowing it away like it's cheese, because as we always say, cheese is the best. So in at 5 is soy products. So what we are talking about here is stuff like tofu, edamame beans, soy protein. You look on the back of anything these days, it has soy protein in it. And studies suggest, and we'll talk about studies in a few seconds, that these kind of things contain something called phytoestrogens. I probably butchered that name. And what essentially a phytoestrogen is something that mimics real estrogen. So when you put it into your system, it may also mimic the effects of that hormone. And yes, look, you can go out there right now and you can find studies that prove the opposite. But a lot of people were tested, and when they were eating foods like this, they did experience some high estrogen symptoms. So you're talking about bloating, you're talking about sensitive nipples, you're talking about acne, the dreaded acne. We've all been there. And of course, if you are a man and you push your estrogen levels too high, then you're going to be in a war essentially, because your testosterone levels will be pushed down, because that's how it works. If you're not aware, testosterone in your system converts to estrogen, which is one reason you don't want to spike your testosterone levels up too much, because then you'll be estrogen dominant, which is not what a male wants. Obviously, it's different for females, but I'm sure you all know about that. And if you are experiencing estrogen dominance, yes, that is going to have a negative effect on your test levels. But just be smart with it. So if you do have some tofu, or you do have some edamame beans, if you start to feel, oh my gosh, this is affecting me in a way I don't like, just cut it out. I really doubt you're going to be that sensitive to it that it's going to, ruin all your gym gains. You can't go to the gym, but you never know. So take this information, apply it to you, and see what the hell happens. Number 4 is alcohol. So we'll go back to these studies again, and I will give you the one that's going to make you happy. There was one out there, I found one, that said, actually, if somebody drinks alcohol, their testosterone levels go up. Sadly, there is a bunch more, and when I say a bunch, I mean a bunch that say, if you are a heavy drinker, and you are a regular heavy drinker, eventually it is going to start decreasing your testosterone levels. And the headline one for this is that alcohol actually damages Leydig cells in your testes, and of course, in the testes is where you're going to be producing and secreting testosterone. Alcohol can also release certain endorphins within you that have been shown to interrupt your testosterone production, and of course this one makes all the sense in the world. When you drink alcohol, your cortisol levels, your hormone for stress, increases. Again, you can figure that one out, and the higher your cortisol levels, nothing works then if you get them too high, and that includes your hormones. When your stress level's too high, you can't even go to bed, so how the hell do you think your body's going to be doing anything else? And this isn't me saying you should give up beer or vodka or wine or gin or anything like that. Once again, it's something to keep an eye on, and the science is out there. But remember, everything in moderation. If you are being smart with this stuff, I doubt it's going to be a problem. But maybe if you are drinking way too much and you have started to see some side effects, great thing to cut out, because 1, it may help with this, but also 2, it is filled with calories, so you're going to get a bit leaner. Or you could just replace it with a milkshake. Number 3 is mint. Now, most of the studies for this one were done on females, but I'm sure there's still women watching this that want to know about their testosterone levels. And essentially, they gave spearmint oil to female rats, and when they kept an eye on their hormone levels, guess what happened? Tests went down. And following on from that, they then got real humans into the laboratory, whatever the hell they do, and they got them to eat spearmint for 30 days, and at the end of that month period, that's right, testosterone levels had gone down. Now, obviously, there are differences in the way that a man's bodies work to a woman's bodies work, but I am not going to sit here and pretend,
oh, I know all about this, so if you are a man, you shouldn't eat mint,
or anything like that. I'm just saying there is connections there, and with all the entries on this list, it is fascinating. You should type it into Google and try and learn some more, because it's fun to educate yourself. But again, it's just one of those things to keep an eye on. Are you smashing some mint? Maybe you're eating a mint arrow, secretly, don't tell anyone, oh my gosh, extra calories, and then you're feeling like crap. I very much doubt it, because I bet the mint content of that is 18%. But if you are somehow taking in 100% mint, firstly, you must smell amazing, so that's a positive, but like I've said with all the other ones, keep an eye on it. Number 2 is certain fats. Now, I'm just going to give you the bullet points because trans fats, which you kind of want to stay away from anyway, can lower testosterone, but also if you're taking on too much omega-6, that can reduce your testicle size. Now, thankfully, I do have a counterpoint to that because omega-3 can not only increase your ball size a little bit, don't think you're going to have some magic testicles all of a sudden, but it also can improve function. And going back to the numbers game, another study, which I truly found interesting, we tested 209 dudes and we made sure they were taking in a ton of trans fat, or maybe the trans fat was just natural to the way they lived their life and how they incorporated it into their diet. And they found, compared to people that weren't having that much trans fat, that their testosterone levels were 15% less. Now, you could say, well, Simon, it could just be an individual thing, and it absolutely could be. I mean, your test levels right now could be through the roof and mine could be through the floor. You don't know what kind of experiences you're going to go through, but there is evidence to suggest. And vegetable oils are also high in PUFAs, and that makes me laugh because I'm a child, but that's just polyunsaturated fat, and that too can lower your testosterone, but that's why you want to aim for monosaturated fats instead, because once again, that can do the opposite. So really what we are talking about here is just having a healthy diet, right? You know that trans fats are bad, and you know that monosaturated fats are good. I mean, even that is probably way too basic. There's far more that we could delve into here, but I'm just going with the things that I read, and I'm passing them on to you, and I would implore you, as I do with all of my videos, to go and do some extra reading. I was spent about 6-7 hours on this, and I'm going to go back to it when we're done because you wouldn't believe it. And finally, in at number 1 is the licorice root. This was an Italian study that said people that often eat licorice root or licorice, or whatever you want to call it, lower libidos. Now, straight away, you're like, well, actually, I need some numbers, man. I need some numbers. So they put them on a bunch of licorice for 4 days, and some people showed a drop in testosterone of 35%. And this is all because of the active ingredient in licorice, which is like glycolic acid. I'll just put it on the screen because I can't pronounce it. And apparently it's that interrupts the testosterone conversion, or at least a good conversion from testosterone that you want to have in your system. And it's kind of crazy because I know someone, I won't name them because it's not fair, they're a good friend of mine. They actually had a problem with licorice, nothing to do with this, but they were suffering breathing problems and, basically motor neuron issues. And as it turned out, they were eating too much licorice. You can find stories out there, because I found this back, so looking at this, where people have died because they ate too much licorice. So as we're learning now, stay away. I don't even like it, thank goodness for that, but it's terrifying. And we do have to bring other studies into this as well, because most people did find a reduction in testosterone. One was 10%, but a lot of the other ones, it was just marginal. It was just marginal decreasing. So it's not like if you are obsessed with licorice, that is going to be affecting your testosterone levels. But it certainly could be. And that's the reason I put it at number 1. I found way much more reading about licorice root, just into your general health, than I did about any of the others. But just to tie in and to kind of go back to things I've already said, it's mostly about eating healthy foods and making sure you're doing that in moderation. You shouldn't cut up alcohol if it's going to make you sad. You should be allowed a pizza or whatever if that's going to cheer you up for a day. But you have to understand there's going to be consequences if you do this over a long period. And it won't just be down to hormones. It will be your cholesterol, it will be your heart health. Those two things kind of tie in. You'll just feel crap as well. We all know when we've gone on a binge afterwards, we don't feel good. But the two things to do is 1, don't beat yourself up. And 2, just make sure you balance it out, right? A bad diet doesn't happen in a day. Bad diet happens over a year. That's the whole Christmas, Thanksgiving thing, right? Don't worry about what you're going to eat on Christmas and Thanksgiving. Worry about the time in between that. And if you get that right, this can just be fun conversations that we have, and you never have to think about it again. Now, do please leave a comment below. I'm sure some of you think this is absolute gibberish, which is cool. I'll be happy to hear your opinions. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. That would be rock. You can hit the bell, ding ding, so you know when other videos are going live. There's another video right there. If you want to give it a click, that would be great. Get the Power 13 cookbook, where you can get nice healthy meals which will throw your testosterone levels through the roof. That's a lie. Just use the code Simon15 to get 15% off. Otherwise, I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Simon316, patreon.com/Simon316. If you want to support me financially, I'd appreciate it. SimonMiller.BigCartel.com. But more importantly, I love you. See you on the next one.